6th of July, and we're just looking at the weather for our potential departure from the United States back to Ireland. And well, there's some interesting things going on. This is tropical storm barrel. I don't think it's quite a hurricane yet, which probably isn't going to impact us because it's going to go straight into Grenada, well, north of Grenada, so the usual suspects are probably going to be the ones that suffer, but it does, as it plays through that, it dissipates, and it looks like it's not going to be so intense when it gets to them. But we're more concerned about this circulation here.
It's pretty windy today as well.
Look at this, like it's Monday, it's bumping around.
It doesn't do very much down there to start with, but then by Tuesday or Wednesday, we're looking at...
And then Tuesday, Wednesday.
And then that's major. I think that's... This is the gust though.
But we're up here, so...
Oh, this is a gust, okay.
This is gust. So that is 64 knot gusts. So do you want to be there? on Tuesday? I mean, how did this happen? How did we like end up in front of a hurricane? I mean, that's.
Now we're still laughing.
Yeah, I know that's raising questions like where the hell do we put the boat to weather it?
Then we should probably stay in the sun.
I think so. It's sheltered here.
I would propose that we keep heading north and have an eye on the weather, and then we decide what to do.
And
then hope that it sort of hits the land here then, instead of more shelter.
We could even try to sail
around. Yeah.
To Boston, or there's a channel, I think.
There is a channel. It has bridges on it. I haven't checked the bridges yet.
We should maybe make a reservation in the marina already. When did this happen? This happened overnight.
Yeah. Can we verify this on another app?
Yeah, but
there's definitely something.
Oh my god. Okay, so that is on both.
Wednesday. Thursday.
Same?
Yeah, it's huge.
Fuck. I think moving north as far as possible is a reasonable plan. So we're just coming in the Connecticut River. We're just here to hide for some northerlies that are coming and hire a car for Martijn to go and get his luggage from the airport. And then from here we'll decide whether we stay put or try and go further north before leaving for the Atlantic crossing. So the situation is that Martijn flew over with Norwegian Airlines. His baggage didn't turn up with all his sailing clothes, everything he needed for making the passages across the Atlantic back. So now we're here, and it is the following Saturday, and he still hasn't got his bag, and he's been in there for a while already. It doesn't actually make any difference to us because there's a tropical depression that's formed off Cape Hatteras, which is going to go between, well, it would cross our path. So it's actually good we didn't leave when we planned to, and it's good that we've been delayed, but we do still hope that he can get his bags today, because otherwise we will probably miss the next good weather window.
But we've got to move away from the ice cream man over here, which is just playing the same tune over and over again.
So what's going on?
What's going on? Still no bag in 5 days. I'm so fed up with this shit. The only thing that is sure is that it's not here.
It's not here.
that I am sure of right now. Oh God.
So we've just dropped Martijn off now at Defender Marine, and he's going to have to buy all of his sailing equipment, like jackets and everything he needs. He reckons it's probably going to be, I guess, about $1,000 worth of stuff, maybe more. Because he's not been able to get his bag back in time, and we're running around with a car trying to get the rest of the groceries and everything we need before we go. So yeah, I hope you can find everything in the right size.
And this is just the fresh stuff. 312 bucks, I think.
Right, so the storm has finally got a name. They called it Chris.
I said so yesterday.
Did you say Chris?
Yeah, I said Chris.
What? It's a C. It's a
Yeah.
then.
So there we go. So that's what we're waiting for to pass in front of us before we leave. But the good news is it looks like Beryl, the one to the south, is going to sort of dissipate before it's a problem for us. It'll just burn itself out, which is good news. So today we're still waiting for our weather window to leave, and we've got a job to do, and that is to align the prop shaft and the engine. They have a new engine, and Thomas has been a little bit worried that the shaft wasn't 100% lined up, and we think we've found that it isn't. So we've been in here, we've just lifted the engine to line with the shaft, because this was about 5mm different.
No, I think we're pretty close.
And then we're going to adjust the...
It's less than 004.
And then once we're going to put the flanges together, and then you measure round, holding it together as tight as you can. You measure around with a feeler gauge, and it should all be the same, as in it should all be tight at the same time. If there's a gap left to right, then you have to move it.
Yeah, here's more space, and then here it's shut.
So the bottom's
Yeah.
closed.
Yeah, so we have to raise the engine in the back a bit.
But the two sides both had a gap.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
that's fine.
So tight at the bottom, loose at the top. So we made it all the way back to New York, and we're just entering Hell's Gate. The tide's just turned, and we got a beautiful sunset.
The only way to travel through New York.
Yeah, but I think it's all easy.
Yeah? Oh yeah, it's really easy. So this is the weather advice from my guy, Chris. I think the best option for departure would be to leave New York late Saturday 14, afternoon, evening, as south winds fill in on the backside of a narrow ridge that exists Friday 13 night to Saturday 14 morning. One reason for the delay here is first northeast, east-northeast winds in compression with rapidly exciting Hurricane Chris. Secondly, remnants of Beryl are currently being swept up by a tropical... what's a trough?
Yeah, just a couple of drops.
That extends south from Chris down into the southeast Bahamas. Beryl's remnants are poorly organized. It is still possible she could organize into a tropical low as she crosses the Gulf Stream near 38 or 39 north and 68 west, late Friday night into early Saturday 14. However, we feel confident that even if Beryl does reorganize, she will not be so far away. She will be so far away from the coast of New England by Saturday, Sunday that you will not see any effects from her.
So welcome to Scehawk. This is a Sigma 41 and a boat I'm crewing on back to Ireland across the Atlantic, and we're about an hour from departure now. I'll just give you a quick show around the boat so you can see what sort of layout it is. So it's dark in here, but forward cabin, nice size, big hatch, but it's covered with the dinghy at the minute. Forward heads. But it's going to be our wet weather gear locker. We're not going to use that toilet. Then we got Martijn's bunk on this side. Loads of food stored underneath, spare parts behind the side, more food. And then the sofa, which is going to stay converted into a double bunk just in case it gets too comfortable in the front. Again, that's completely full of food.
underneath, behind, tools and spares behind that side. We've got our galley where we're going to be doing a lot of cooking and rolling around. Aft heads, which is the only one we'll be using on the passage. Nav station, and then I'm very lucky they've given me the little aft cabin, probably the best cabin on the boat, so I'm very grateful. Got my own little mirror, and I got 2 lockers there and there to put my stuff in. And the best thing is I have my own hatch that leads out in the cockpit, so I can keep an ear on what's going on and get some fresh air. So this is Scehawk, Sigma 41, prepared for our Atlantic crossing.
Tanks and cupboards are filled, moods are high, we're all excited for this 3,000-mile ocean crossing back home. If you feel like waving goodbye, you can check the webcam of the Statue of Liberty that will pass in roughly 20 minutes. We hope to see you all soon when we get back home. Hugs and love, Thomas, Evelien, Ben and Martijn.
Hey, cool.
How's that?
Nice.
Good one.
Send.
My thing, yeah.
Okay, so what is your wager then?
My guess?
Yeah, how many days?
Well, I think 23.
23 days? Martijn?
I would say 24.
I'm a bit more optimistic. I think we'll do like 21 days and 3 hours and 4 minutes. And I'm hoping for 21 days on the dot, so 5 o'clock.
Right, so this is the weather situation we left with. We're here in New York. This is a point in the Gulf Stream, which is the closest point in the Gulf Stream to us. This is Hurricane Chris. And this is a scenario. So this is when we left at 6 o'clock last night. A dying wind, so we motor sailed for quite a while. Now we're probably nearer ahead of the green boat. Then we get to that point, and then we continue our course down following the dying wind here, and then we'll have to start motoring in this direction. Try and follow this area of light wind. So the other low pressure we were worried about has disappeared, which is great. That's what we thought. Otherwise, at this time of year, if you don't leave behind one storm, the chances are you'll be in the path of another. So I am really glad we left it when we did.
So it's coming up to 5:30 on the Friday the 13th of July. It's only like 2 days into our passage back to Ireland. We've been heave to for about 10 hours. We've just had the latest weather forecast says that it's probably best if we stay heave to and don't move forward towards the Gulf Stream until the low pressure has passed. So I think that means that the earliest we're going to be stuck here until 8 o'clock in the morning. And this is all to avoid potentially 40 knot gusts or more in the Gulf Stream, where the wind would be dead against the flow, and I think the flow's like up to 3 or 4 knots, so it would be pretty uncomfortable and maybe even dangerous for the boat. Would probably break stuff, and we just don't want to do that really. So we're going to just hold fire and have some food, try and get some rest, and carry on in the morning.
So now we're officially surfing the Gulf Stream.
So we've just made our final turn towards the Gulf Stream. I think hopefully by about 10 o'clock tonight we should see the water temperature rise to like 27, 28 degrees, which is like the first sign we're in it.
Oh, there was a big fish. Yeah.
And then hopefully we'll see 2 or 3 knots extra on our speed, and we'll start making better progress than we have been. A bit wet, Thomas?
I got my shower for today, the first shower in 4 days.
A little bit nautical out here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Quite bumpy.
And it's not your first shower today.
No, I got plenty of showers, not all night. It seems to be like every time I go, I say, oh no, weather's calming down, waves are going down. There's a fucking freak wave showering me.
So we have a little situation with the hydrovane. It's working really well. It's been steering like a trooper for the whole trip so far. But it's just, there's two 10mm bolts at the bottom of it, and they are working their way undone. Like every hour or two, Thomas is sort of having a look at it and then tightening up a bit more. It's difficult because it's really hard to get to the inside heads of the bolts, but he can kind of do it by just gripping the thread of the bolt with his mole grips and then tightening with a spanner. So we're just going to carry on doing that in a minute. Hopefully the conditions will ease a bit and there won't be so much force on it.
Make sure that's a warm one. Okay. Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it quickly.
Okay, there we go.
It's not so bad, right?
It isn't actually.
No.
It's like the air is almost colder than the rest of it.
Yeah.
That's always why swimming is nicer than being outside, right?
Yeah.
Could have done this yesterday when the sun was shining though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nicer.
So, don't be making coffee whilst it's really rough because you get scolded. So we're coming to the end of day 5. We've got to a point where the Gulf Stream's not really useful anymore. It seems to be very broken up, and it's not really giving us any assistance. So we've decided to set a course further north, maybe aiming for latitude 40, and then we're going to follow that for a little way east, avoid a low pressure, and then head directly for Ireland. So we're making good progress towards Ireland now. We're doing about, I think, today we did 158 miles in the right direction, which is pretty good going. Yeah, and the weather's improved. It's just, can't believe the difference between yesterday and today. It's absolutely stunning out here now. So it's about midday on day 6, and we've just had the most awesome morning today. Just really calm conditions. Got about 10 or 11 knots from behind us, so we're flying the Jenica and the Genoa hold out, making about I don't know, 5.5 knots or something. Had pancakes for breakfast, nice coffees, and then the swim. Can't ask for anything better, really.
Letzte Nacht bereut!
I think he's had too many painkillers.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's not even steering, that's the funniest thing, isn't it?
painkillers.
Huh?
Have you had too many painkillers?
Oh my god, I need a painkiller.
What did he take?
He took,
Two ibuprofen.
you know the ibuprofen which you get if you have like tooth surgery?
Yeah.
He took 2 of those.
Oh, can I have some?
You'll probably sleep well.
Yeah, I reckon he will.
Still doesn't help. I'm just in a good mood.
So what were we just saying about the course and the iceberg?
That we are already higher than the 40° north mark. So actually with coordinates you should stick to is 40 north, 50 west.
Yeah.
And we're now at 40 north, 60 west.
Yeah.
So,
Iceberg!
so we should go east.
Yeah, I think so.
But he's not liking it
No.
because we have a counter current.
We have a counter current and the wind's against current situation, so we have a lot of waves. And I want to
Yeah,
sleep.
but it's still okay. It's gonna look tiny on camera.
Always does.
She said. So boring. Say that again while you're filming.
No, don't film the sunset. It's so boring.
You always feel like.
There you go, Nicky. There's a sunset. There's one for you.
Going through the video, like, oh, okay. Now I know then.
I love you, really.
Our 1 week in position. It puts us pretty much south of Newfoundland. This dotted line here is the extremity of the ice in June and July. I think that's an all-time ever recorded. So, although a lot of this area here in June and July is accepted as safe, the icebergs have been reported in this area in June and July historically. So yeah, that's where we were a week ago. Our course to Ireland is about like this. We're going to carry on east along the 40-degree line, which is right at the edge. We might cut across a little bit like this, but in this area here where we are at the minute, we've encountered, well, we've had about 12 hours of counter current, maybe even 18 hours of counter current, and for 12 hours of that it was at about 3 knots against us. And because we've got following winds, that drove up quite, although they weren't big waves, it was really steep, horrible, uncomfortable seas, so none of us have slept that well last night. But the other tactic would be to carry on east further south, so you would take a course like this all the way around, and then eventually turn, once you get well clear of the Grand Banks, you turn off. But it adds a lot more miles to it, so we're going quite close. The winds seem to be more consistent around 40 degrees north, and we'll probably carry on till about this point here, where we're sort of due south of the end of what they call tail of the bank, which is the end of the Grand Banks, and then we'll take our course to Ireland. At the moment we've got sort of 18 to 20 knots, gusting maybe 23 knots behind us. You can't have the main up, it's overpowered if the main's up, so we've been running under a reef jib at night, and then during the day we've just put it, because it's been dropped down to 18, 17 knots from behind. This is true wind speed. We just opened out the Genoa, and we're flying. I mean, it's so quick. With just the head sail, we are doing like constantly 7 knots, which is really quite impressive in what I call moderate seas, so like 1.8 metres swells, so not huge waves. And this is all from behind. We're at 120 degrees to the wind, to the apparent wind. So yeah, it's hugely different to us. I mean, if this was us, we would have both head sails out, the twin head sails. We'd have the main probably with 1 reef in. And probably no mizzen, or maybe the mizzen reefed or something like that, to get a large amount of our sail area up, and we'd be doing a similar speed. But yeah, this thing is fast in light winds. I think when we get some light winds, this will be so much quicker than Bora Bora. It would be amazing to see. They've also got an asymmetric spinnaker, which we've used once, which is really useful in winds up to 15 knots, to fly out one side, and you can pull the jib out to the other side. They've also got what they call the Beast, which we're hoping to use. We've got 1 day of calms coming up, and we'd like to get a downwind run with that, because it's apparently it's a huge spinnaker, and really good in winds under 10 knots. It's really blown my mind like where we are and how hot it is. I mean, the sea temperature is still 26 degrees. The air temperature must be in the mid to high 20s. But we can't open the hatches because the waves keep coming in, so it's as soon as you do anything down here, it's just really difficult to stop sweating and sleep comfortably. So we're actually looking forward to getting some cooler climate if we can. Otherwise, it's all going really well.
They're shot on your new lure.
Oh, the new lure!
Oh my god!
I think
Look, it's something.
What kind of fish is it?
I don't know yet. I can feel it. It's jumping.
So how was it, Martijn?
it's really good.
Your first mine.
Here's my mind. Dorada.
Yeah.
Yeah, he built the lure, he caught it, he cooked it,
You got the whole
Filleted
process.
it.
he filleted it.
Yeah.
Cool. It's really tasty.
Yeah.
So cool. So we've just spotted what looks like a sort of semi-deflated life raft ahead of the boat, and we've taken down the spinnaker and we're going to go and have a look. Can't be sure, but that's what it looks like. Good sign it's the right way up. I suppose they're orange on the bottom.
Freaky.
Yeah, it is. I know. I'm nervous about what we might find.
About what?
What we might find.
Yeah.
Well, also be just a sheet of plastic, but I'm not sure. No, it's definitely not a life raft. There's a seagull sitting on it.
Let's go a bit closer.
I think it's some sort of tank. A rusty tank.
You really don't want to run into it.
That's my worst nightmare.
This is definitely something that can mess the boat up.
Yeah.
So if you would have spotted, you should have spotted this at night.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're
You'd
fucked.
never see it.
Yeah.
It's only because it's calm conditions now. That would sink you if you hit it.
Yeah.
Just imagine like 2 nights ago when it was really rough.
Going
Fuck
into
it.
it with like
Yeah.
8 knots.
That's a end of game item, that is.
Do you want me to give you the MMSI number of the other boat?
Yeah, first let's do security and then we call the other boat.
Yeah.
And ask them if they heard it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Security, security, security. To all stations, to all stations, to all stations. This is sailing vessel Scehawk, Scehawk, Scehawk. Call sign Upper Delta 7202. MMSI 244070170. To all ships in vicinity, there's a floating steel tank on position 41 degrees, 38.34 north, 48 degrees, 17.46 west. Over.
So we've just seen what I consider to be every sailor's worst nightmare. A big heavy steel tank floating, partially submerged. I don't think you would ever see it. Certainly in the dark you'd never see it. I know the chances of hitting it are fairly slim, but the chances of seeing it are pretty slim too, and we've seen it, so they're definitely out here. I guess it's either fallen off or just been thrown off. A large commercial ship, probably reached the end of its useful period on board, and it wouldn't put a scratch on one of those boats, but it would probably sink this boat outright in one hit. So it's definitely made me very nervous. As I say, it's the sort of thing that every sailor has in his worst nightmares, but there you go, they're out here. You just want to be lucky and not hit one. We've had another pretty good day sailing. It's been quite calm for 3 days. We've got a forecast of a storm coming in tonight, or not a storm, but 3 metre plus waves and winds of 40 knots and maybe more, so we've been getting prepared. This is what I call fishing, especially after I saw that shark earlier. Can't believe I saw a shark.
He's giving Helmut pedicure.
Yeah. It's going to be a rough night. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Thomas.
Morning.
What a nice sparkling day it is.
Yeah.
So it is, oh I'm losing track now, I think it's like day 14 or something. Must be, yeah, Wednesday, so we left on a Wednesday, so we've been at sea for 2 weeks. We've just been through what was, well, a smallish low pressure, not that low, I think we've got down to about 1,003 or 1,004 or something like that. So a small low pressure system that turned out to be actually quite the little storm. We had definitely saw waves of 4 meters at one point, maybe slightly bigger than that, and winds up to 40. So we've taken a course slightly further south again. We're actually heading more towards the Azores than we are to Ireland, because we've got at least 2 more lows coming through, one smaller one this evening into tomorrow, and then what looks like quite a serious system coming in slightly further to the north. So we've decided to stay at latitude 40 north, and not go north of that until these 2 have passed, and then we'll try to sneak our way up through towards Ireland and get our northing all in at the end.
So this is how you fill up your tanks on the road.
Making the best of calm conditions, or calmer conditions.
Yeah.
So things have changed. We've had to drop the Jenica, and we've got all this cloud coming in behind us now. So I think it's the start of this low pressure that's coming our way. So we're expecting 20-25 knots tonight. It's going to be fun. So we're coming to the end of day 18. We made our turn to head northeast towards Ireland, just over 24 hours ago. But the sailing's been good, the seas have been quite big and on the beam, which has made it a little bit uncomfortable for sleeping last night, but it's calmed down now, but also the wind has dropped, so we've got the engine on, we need to charge batteries and that sort of thing, but we are making good progress in the right direction, pretty much on the run line now, so we're quite sure now that we're about 6 days to Cork in Ireland, which is awesome. Really looking forward to getting there. And as you can see, the weather's sort of turned to what you'd expect on a more northern Europe route. It's grey, it's been raining, and yeah, it's not the bright sunshine that we've been used to for so long, so a definite change there, but yeah, as I say, we're looking forward to getting there. So it's our last night at sea. We've got about 115 miles to go to Ireland, and we've been given the best evening for it. We just had really nice food. We got the most awesome sunset. Perfect winds for sailing. I think everybody's quite happy.
Yeah.
It's about 3:30 in the morning, and I think I can see the first signs of Ireland. 3,700 miles is our through the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what is it, 2,800 mile trip?
Yeah. So 900 miles eastward.
Yeah. 900 miles of sailing around in circles.
Yeah.
Somebody
Because we love it.
Somebody.
somebody just like wasn't watching on their night watch.
Yeah.